We hope that as we share what we're doing here and you see all the good things God is doing, that may even encourage you as you labor here. Pastor was talking earlier just about, how you're trying to be a light here in Kingsville. And it can be discouraging sometimes when it doesn't seem like anything's happening, or in America, I know there's lots of problems, but, God's doing great things, and hopefully you see it in where you are. And I hope what you see God doing here, that this will encourage you. So today we're going to focus and go through some of our ministry areas there. We're going to start with the Bible study. We have Gwen doing her teacher training program. We have childcare, which we're both doing here. We also have my work as the village administrator. And then finally, we'll give you an update on our school that we've been doing. So first, to talk about the Bible study and the rice, I'll let Gwen do those things.
Is it this one I click, or this one?
That one.
This one, okay.
And you kind of the pointer,
I'm a little technically.
and it's over there.
And it's
is
over
where you
there?
point.
Okay, all
Or
right,
if you want me, I can do it for
okay,
you, and you can just let me know.
all right.
Then we don't
I
have
get
to-
a little,
yeah,
like,
you
a
don't have to
little
do too many things.
discombobulated, too many different things. All right, so our Bible study is really the cornerstone of what we do at our village. Rafiki Foundation was founded by Rosemary Jensen, and she was the executive director of Bible Study Fellowship for many years. And so Rafiki really came out of trying to bring BSF to Africa, and the original setup was that they actually were running community developments for women, especially disadvantaged girls, and then they would always have Bible studies. They would use actually BSF materials. But then in the 90s, they got this idea about they were asked to open up an orphanage. And so they opened the orphanage. The first one was in Ghana. And they eventually opened 10 different ones in 10 different countries, Tanzania being one of them. But soon after, they realized we don't really want our children to be, just inculcated by the government with government curriculums. So they said we need to do two things. One is we need to teach the Bible systematically to all of our children, and with that, also all of our staff members. So it's really is a discipleship work that we do. And then they also developed a curriculum, but we'll talk about that more later. So each day starts with a Bible study and a devotional time. Every person at the village will at some point study the Bible. If they don't study it first thing in the morning, because maybe they're a guard, they're going to study it later on in the day. And the Bible study has been written, the curriculum has been written so that there's ones for little children, so the teachers can teach at their level. There's ones for primary, two levels of primary, lower and upper primary, junior high school, secondary school, adult lesson, and they have another one called for the mama's lesson and another one for the national workers lesson. So it's a lot of different materials that we have to use, which are really great. We all when we study the Bible, we study the same book of the Bible all together. So whether you're a little tiny child or you're a big one, you're going to be studying that same book of the Bible. And also you're going to bring home a handout that you're going to share with your family so they too can learn. The Bible study covers all 66 books of the Bible. It takes about 13 years to get through the whole curriculum. I don't think it's ever been completely done at any village yet, but they're getting close. We've done a lot of the Old Testament since we've been there. Currently, we are working through Isaiah, and our village has already done pretty much all the books up to Isaiah, except for not all of Psalms. We've done half of Psalms, but otherwise we've done all Genesis through Isaiah. And like I said, the day students will take the Bible study home. They'll have a sheet, a weekly sheet that they take home with their parents. They'll have the memory verse, the catechism for the weeks, and the kids really share that with their families. It's wonderful discipleship materials. These families are mostly Christian families, at least they would call themselves Christian families, but their knowledge of the Bible is so limited. And so it's wonderful for these children to bring these things home and be able to explain it probably maybe translate it to their parents from English into Swahili for them. John leads the National Worker Bible Study each morning, and I am responsible for the teacher training Bible study, which is the RICE Bible study. So you will hear me call it the RICE. If I call it RICE, an acronym that means Rafiki Institute of Classical Education, but it basically is teacher training. That's what I do. And then these are the happy fourth graders receiving their own Bibles with our headmistress, Amy Ketchum. She's the white lady in there. And then the other are their teachers, Mr. Nelson, Mr. Gasper, and that's Madam Very Nice. Yes, Very Nice is her name. And she is very nice. Okay. All right, so here's the teacher training program. This is what I get to do about at least half of my day I'm spending doing this. So I am the dean, so I oversee the whole program, and I also teach art and language arts to my students. Currently, I have 15 of them. This was actually a past group. We were celebrating their finishing of the program. It's a one-year program for certified teachers that provides them with both instruction, direct instruction, and also lots of practical experience. We actually have them in the classroom about half the day working with our existing teachers as assistants. We counted up that of the teachers, and we have, what, did you say 47 teachers? About 47 teachers, 32 of them have been through this program. So it's, we train our own. But in addition, we've graduated many more, and many of them are serving in other schools, other Christian schools. Some of them are government schools, but really most of them have employment as teachers, which is a wonderful thing. And currently, I have 15 students. Okay, so this is the group from this past summer. And we went and we hiked Mount Kilimanjaro, but not to the top. We actually did just a one-day hike, which for me was enough mountain for me. I will not be going to the top, thank you very much. One day was enough. This is them, actually, I think it's at the end, right? At the end of the trip, you can see some of them look a little tired, but most of them are pretty energetic because they like ran up the mountain and ran down the mountain, and Miss Gwen is like, ugh. I was like crying out to the Lord that, please, Lord, let me make it. And I did. And we also had, in addition to, right now we have 11 children. So 11 of these children are still living, living with us. They're all living. Sorry. They're all living. 12 of them graduated last December. And 11 of them currently live on the campus. And we also had some short-term missionaries. In addition to our,
So these are short term.
yeah, and actually, this one too.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
this one.
Kathy Jaggers was also there, believe it or not. She didn't quite make it up the mountain. She only went half. She only did half of the mount I did. So, but she was there, and they said she was the oldest person to come that day. Not the oldest ever on the mountain, but the oldest one that had come that day, maybe even that week. But anyway, and then also Amy is there, who you saw before, and then her husband is Tekle. He is actually he was actually born in Ethiopia, and they served there in Ethiopia together at the Rafiki village for 10 years before coming to Tanzania. So another part of my job is I do provide training and oversight for the mamas. That's a little bit less intensive in terms of time, but it's very intensive in terms of emotions. When you have, how many children you have, just multiply that. And it's just, there's a lot of emotion that really comes with helping to raise these children, and really helping to encourage the mothers to raise them in a godly way, not maybe so much the way their culture has raised children, which is, if you do the wrong thing, we beat you until you do the right one. That is not the Rafiki way. We don't beat children. And so some kids think we let them get away with murder, but we don't. We train them, but we do them in a different way. And we really try to shepherd these children, understanding that they are sinners. We all are sinners, and we all need a Savior, and really trying to point them to the living Savior. So this year, I was blessed with the fact that Home Office decided that John would help me. And he's overseeing all of our children who graduate, working. We keep them on scholarship for as long as they're able to keep on their scholarship, both academic. They have to keep academics and their behaviors up to a certain level for Rafiki to continue scholarship, giving them a scholarship. And we have 50 graduates currently in various levels of advanced secondary, vocational school, and university. And then that last one just describes what I just showed you. I was just going to, he went back. Okay, I was just going to point to you, this is one of the mamas. I know she doesn't look that old. She's actually worked for Rafiki for 10 years, can you believe it? And then this is the other that came. Of the 4 mamas we had, 2 of them came. The other 2 mamas were like, yeah, these mamas one was older than me and one's a year younger than me. And they're like, yeah, no, thank you. So here's just a couple more pictures of our residents' children to give you a little bit picture of their life together. So in this one, you'll see these are the girls. They're in the living room area of their cottage. And this is a Sunday afternoon, and they're all working on homework. They're still wearing dresses because they like to wear their dresses while they do their homework. And then, so their days are, they do a lot of normal things that you guys do. You go to school, you do your homework, you do your chores, all those kinds of things. But then sometimes we have extra chores. And we got a 20-foot shipping container, and it came on the weekend, which meant there was no workers or other students to help unload that. And so our 11 children unloaded a 20-foot shipping container, and they did it joyfully. And Mr. John did give them all sodas and cookies afterwards, so they were pretty happy with that too. So this is some of our graduates. This is kind of the oldest children here on the left-hand side. They're mostly in university. This one and this one and this one are actually studying in Dar es Salaam to be doctors. They do like a 6-year program. So right after you do your advanced secondary, you go right into university, and the medical school is like a 6-year program. So that's what they're doing. They're in the first and second year of that, and others are studying various things, several business. These 2 guys are doing tourism. She's also in the medical field. She's like a medical technician. She's studying to become a teacher. These are the business girls right there. In the middle, you see Mr. John, along with the guy in the Emirates shirt is the Patrick. He's our guidance counselor. So, like Madam Pamela there. And then 2 of our students, they're at an advanced secondary school. The school is called Agape. It's the top advanced secondary school in our area, and so we're excited that they were able to get in, and they're doing pretty well there. There's finally is a group of children who just graduated. They have not been able to yet start their advanced secondary school, because our school goes up to like 11th grade, and then 12th and 13th is in advanced secondary. And so they're all writing their sponsor reports. All of our children are sponsored, and they write sponsor reports. They write them quarterly. They also do Christmas card. Well, they write 3 quarters of reports and then 1 Christmas card. So every quarter they're doing some kind of communication with their sponsors. And if their sponsors write them, they are expected to write them back immediately. So if you do sponsor a child, or if the school decides they want to sponsor a child or children, we also have day students now that we don't taking any more orphans, but we do take day students who are sometimes orphans themselves or from very impoverished family situations, and that cannot afford our tuition. So we also have them as sponsors, and so child sponsorship is always something that is an ongoing thing. We have some schools that will sponsor like one child or maybe even a couple, that can be arranged. And I think that's it.
Oh, yeah.
So
Okay.
did you want to talk about school administration? There you go.
So when I was here last making a presentation, one of my jobs was to be the head of school. But now that has changed. So I'm the village administrator. And so now you can see we have Amy Ketchum. She is now the head of school. So she officially started that in January this year. She came last year. She and her husband came in July, but we gave them a few months. She did some things with the school, but she wasn't over the whole school, just to help get them acclimated. But as of January this year, she's now the head of the entire school. Glenn will tell you it is a full-time job, so I'm really thankful to give that job off. Although not only thankful because it just allows me to do my other responsibilities as village administrator. But my heart really was for education, but it's okay. So we have, right now, we have about 422 students. That's from 3-year-old all the way through high school that we have there. When we first arrived 4 years ago, I think it was about 340. So you can see we've been growing each year. We are going to top out. We have, 1 or 2 more years that we'll add one more class, about another 20 students. So we should top out about 450. We still have a few openings, but God's really blessed us. Right now, the reputation of the school is really good, and so. Families want to come here to our school, and we usually have waiting lists, and it's almost like if you don't get in by 3 or 4 years old, it's going to be really hard to get in because we just don't have many openings after that. It's only if someone leaves or something, and that doesn't happen too often, thankfully. So we have about 47 teachers at all those levels doing all these things. We do have music and art teachers, like we do here. And one thing that's been really helpful is Amy has a master's in special education. So just like schools in America, there are some students that just need a little extra help. They have maybe some special needs, some learning disabilities or something. That in many cases, that even you find here, just a little bit of help with those children over 2 or 3 years, maybe just helping them understand how to deal with sort of their issue. Then they tend to be fine. They hardly need much help after that, and so now we're finally able to start identifying some of these students and really identifying ways to help them. And so Amy's just starting that now, so that'll be something that'll be going on for the next several years. But I'm really thankful that God's provided her with that knowledge. And so, like in the U.S., we try to have some field trips. We go to different things. You'll see up there, there's a snake museum. They have that over in Arusha. It's a city about an hour and a half away that the students go to. And so we try to find things that are of interest and also similar to what they're studying and things. So I went with one last year to the airport where we fly in and out of. What was interesting to me is they actually took us up in the tower where you have all the traffic controllers. I'm thinking, shouldn't you be like landing planes and stuff? But anyway, it's not a very busy airport. Not a very busy airport. So it's not too busy, so they were okay. No planes crashed or anything, but it was very fascinating to see how that all works. And one thing that we're very, very proud of, while our school in general has a very good reputation, especially for academic excellence, as a classical Christian school, we hope that we are distinguished in other ways. And one thing that when parents are applying to the school each year, we always ask them, well, how'd you hear about us? What do you hear about our school? And why do you want to send your children here? And two things that I think are different than other schools. One is they say our children tend to be very well behaved, and to me that's a real testimony to the Bible study that we do. We're trying to teach and train the heart as well, and so our kids tend to try to be well behaved. Now, obviously, it's not always perfect, but I'm glad that in the neighborhoods, that's the word on the street that people come and tell us. Your kids, Rafiki kids, are well behaved. So we're really thankful that our Bible study is having that impact. Also, they tell us that our students are confident. The thing you have to understand in Tanzania, education is basically rote memorization for a test. So you learn what you need to learn for a test. I mean, even math, like when our high school graduates have to take the national exam, math problems have to be done a certain way. Like, we all know math, in higher math, you can do things a couple of different ways. Well, if you don't do it the way they want, it's completely marked wrong. So there's just no room for critical thinking or creative thinking. Of course, we teach that as a classical school, and so when parents are saying that, it's our kids are confident. The way they ask questions, the way they speak and formulate thought, the way that they will just stand up and speak, because they have to do that in class a lot. So our kids are different and they stand out in that way. So I'm really thankful that our education is really having that impact that we want them to have. There. Oops. Did it time out or?
No. Is this your video?
No, it shouldn't be.
Video is later.
Oh, there we go. Oops.
Okay.
I'll go back. Oh, okay. There we go. Sorry, I don't know what happened. Anyway, all right. So as a village administrator, my job is to oversee everything. So I have like Gwen, Amy, Teckley. They all report to me, And so, thankfully, right, they take care of most of the day-to-day operations on those things. So I know if they come to me with a problem, that means it's a really big problem, because they take care of a lot of problems. But if they come to me and say, I have a problem and I can't deal with it, and I know Glenn, that's why, there was part of me that said, I never want to be an administrator, because I love being a teacher. And when there was a big problem, Glenn's got to deal with it. I was like very happy to let Glenn deal with the big problems, and I could just deal with the small problems. But now I'm the one who has to help deal with these big problems. So if anyone has a problem that gets to me, if it gets to me, I already know it's a big problem. So, but I am very thankful, and they do that. So I do have to do things such as like I'm in charge of hiring people, processing payroll, making sure everyone gets paid, overseeing the village finances and things. What are we spending? How are things going? I have to write reports to the home office for financial reports and another village administrator report, quarterly, monthly financial reports that I have to submit so that we have accountability and things like that. And so, also, with the outreach, I assist Teckley in that because I'm kind of the head of everything in Africa. They like to just call me the director, not the village administrator. I'm the director, but I'm considered someone of some importance. And so, it's like when I show up, wow, okay, this must be important. One example I'll have, we had a few months ago, one of our residents who's graduated, and he's working to become an electrician, but he had our children aren't perfect either, and he had a struggle with some temptation, and he kind of stole some money from his host family. And he was caught, and we're trying to repair this relationship, because he doesn't have a family to go to. He doesn't really have relatives or anything. So, and this family is a really nice family, a good family. And we're like, oh my goodness, where else are we going to put this young man until he can finish his training and be on his own? And so we were talking with them, and they're like, we're not taking him back. We're not taking him back. We don't trust him. So I personally went out with our child care assistant, and because I personally went, they said, we'll take him back. So, so that's kind of how, so you all need to respect me, okay? Because in Africa, I'm a pretty big guy. So, yeah, anyway. Yeah, right. I come into America, and everybody's like, yeah, right? So, anyway. But it is kind of the thing there. So I am looked at, I oversee the whole thing. And Rafiki has a good reputation. We do a lot of good work. So anyway, so that's what I do there. So God is really working in so many ways here. You've already heard a lot of good things about our residents and our school and things. So a little more specifics there. We have 4 partner schools that are actively using our Bible study, and there's probably almost another dozen and a half that have shown interest that we're trying to work to get to use the Bible study because we want this Bible study to be in other schools. Rafiki's goal is to our school is like a model, and then we hope that other schools will adopt what we are doing, curriculum and Bible study, right? Classical Christian education, and that they'll also start doing it. So that's really the goal, and so we're very happy that we have 4 right now that are actively using that. We do have 2 partner schools that are using the Rafiki curriculum. One is also sponsored by an American, but she visited a couple years ago, and she's like, wow, she's starting a school. She had no curriculum of her own other than the government curriculum, and when she saw ours, she's like, wow, this is fantastic. So she's all in, and there's another school. Wow, that's about about almost 3 hours away, right? The Faraja School, that's pretty far away, and they're using it for early childhood, but they're planning to also use it. They're kind of adding it each year. It's a newer school, and that's also Tanzanian. So it's not sponsored by the church, but it is a former Lutheran pastor started the school up in his area there. It's farther up on the mountain, and so we're really excited. It's a small start, but we're really excited that God is already starting to move in that way, and we're hoping to add more. So that means, including our own school and these other 4 schools, we have over 1,800, students and staff, studying the Bible on a regular basis. Some, I think one is like us doing it every day. The other schools might do it 2 or 3 times a week, but it's very regular, and God's word does not go out void. This year, we were given, you saw that container that we unloaded. Well, a lot of that was Bibles for distribution.
Basically, that picture right there.
Oh, yeah,
All
this
of
one.
those boxes are Bibles.
Yeah, those are all Bibles. There's about 24 in a box, and so it's a lot of boxes. And that's our gymnasium that we're putting all those in. And so far, we received about 8,000, and we've been able to distribute about 6,000. These go to some Bible colleges in the area, also to the church, so that they can distribute them. These are in English, so that is a slight problem because most people speak some English, but really Swahili is the main language that people speak. So, but nevertheless, a lot of these, and a lot are also intended for schools. So schools are using our Bible study. We give them so all the children will then have their own Bible, and that's a partnership with Crossway Publishing, and also Ligonier Ministries is sending other like theological works and books and things to help train pastors there. So we're Rafiki's kind of part of all that, so we're really excited about being able to do that. So we partner with the Lutheran Church in Tanzania. That's a church that has, what did they say the other? Well, I think that's just our diocese. I thought nationally, I thought they had like 8 million nationally,
It's
8 to 10 million.
In the world.
Yeah.
As big as the Ethiopian.
Yeah. The Ethiopian Lutheran Church is the biggest one, but Tanzania is the second biggest one. Anyway, it's millions of people all across the country, and so they're our main church partner. And again, Rafiki has materials, but really to get them implemented and used, they have to do it. There's just no way. And to be honest, they tend to look at us and say, oh, well, you come and train, you come and do it. It's like, well, we'll train some, and then those people can go and train. Like, we don't have enough people. There's only 4 missionaries and, a couple of national staff. I mean, we can't train thousands of people. You have to do it. So we are working with them, and they're very excited. They love Rafiki. They love our materials, and they're looking at saying, well, what do we need to do to help implement this, more quickly? And so we're now that Tekeli is here. There's Tekeli. You can see he was actually on a visit distributing some Bibles to one of our partner schools. That's the Masama English Medium School that he was there with, and they're using our Bible study. And so he's doing these visits. He's working there, and so I think now that Tekeli is there, he's also doing outreach, and so he's taking a lead in really taking the time to meet with people and really start to push and say, hey, look, we keep saying this is a great idea, but nothing actually gets done. So we need enthusiasm, enthusiasm to actually become action. So we're great that you're enthusiastic, but let's make some action, and he's really starting to do that. That I think is going to probably be our biggest growth area over the next few years. That God's going to really do some great things there. So. And we also have a widows program. And last year we were really happy that we were able to get 2 pretty large orders for some shirts. And what was the other one that we did? Oh, dresses. Weren't there some dresses?
I think it was like aprons and robes.
Oh yeah, aprons and robes. That's what it was, not dress. Anyway, but the Rafiki Foundation will make an order, and they buy products from the widows. So the widows get paid, and then Rafiki brings them here to the U.S. and then sells them. So you can buy them online. If you go to the Rafiki Foundation website, you can buy them. Or if you're in Orlando, in Mount Dora area, you can go to their store or to the village and buy things there. But that way they help support these widows who, again, in a lot of these African countries, when you're a widow, you get nothing. Here legally, if I die, Gwen gets everything. But in Tanzania and most African countries, if the husband dies, the husband's family gets everything, and it's quite typical that they take everything and then kick the wife and their the children out and give them nothing. And so these women have nothing. So what we're able to do with them is really help provide them. And they pay for tuition for their own families. They help others. They're so sweet. We go there. I have visited them, and they'll say, oh, well, I got some money, and there's another widow we know, and she's more destitute than we are. And I'm thinking, wow, so they're just godly, wonderful women. And so we're really thankful that we were able to do that this year. So we thought I'll start a little bit and then let Gwen finish, but just to give you a little bit of an idea of a day at our village that we have. Obviously, school is the main thing that we're doing and a lot of training, but you can see that we have teachers doing their teacher Bible study in the morning. They do that. That starts at around 7:30 in the morning. Around 8 o'clock is when classes will begin. The first class of the day is Bible, so they do Bible study themselves and then go and do it with their students. You can see that we have some of our older students. They have the gray sweaters, so each level has a different color sweater. So the gray is the oldest students, and they're at dismissal. And like all kids, they like to hang out all day and chat with each other if they can, and so that's what they're doing. And then lining up to eat breakfast, the kindergarten. Every day, all the children get a breakfast. Now, it's a very simple breakfast. It's usually just maybe some tea or milk, and usually bread and peanut butter with a little bit of peanut butter on it, maybe a hard-boiled egg. So a very simple breakfast, but it's something that they get, and we give them every day. Here's the video. So here, I'll let Gwen come up and talk about this.
All right. So this is a non-professional video. I took this video. I was doing an observation of one of my students, and then this is like a thing in between. They like to between every class, every subject, they do transitions, and this is their transition. Okay, I need the volume up.
Yeah, I'm trying here.
Okay.
It always takes a little to get the video going.
But you can see they have lots of instruction. This is a first grade classroom. They have a lot of instructional materials up on the wall. People always comment on how bright and colorful it is.
Yeah, the blue sweaters being their primary.
Yeah, they're primary, but they are first. I know they're standard 1. We call our grades standards in the primary. They're called standard 1 through 7. And then once they get to secondary, they're called forms. I think this is maybe a European thing. I don't know. Someone can speak into that. I don't know. Do they have forms in Europe? Yes? Okay. All right. Well,
It's okay.
so anyway, they sing songs a lot, just like you do.
He says, and he says, he says, and says, he says, and says, I says, he and they says, they says, and L says, M says, and says, O says, and B says, Q says, and R says, S says, and T says, U says, I and Z says, W says, U and X says, Y says, U and Z says. Let us out of the alphabet. Let us out of the alphabet. Do you know that let us sounds of the alphabet? Do you know that let us sounds of the alphabet?
So if you're familiar with classical education, you know that chants and songs are always a part of what we love to do. I just thought that was fun. I just grabbed some different pictures. Here we have a girl praying before, as part of opening exercises. We have an opening exercise outside every morning before the whole school gathers together. They sing a patriotic song, have announcements, do their catechism, memory verse, and pray together. They have many opportunities to pray during the day. We have beautiful teachers who are committed, like here at Redeemer, to teaching what is good and true and beautiful each day. Here's kindergarten children at the bottom corner enjoying their Bible time. Their teacher Witness was one of my students, and she is a delight. She sings with them and talks with them and gets them to love everything they do. She's so active. She's such a great teacher. And then finally, this picture was taken. This little boy here is one of our day students. He's one of our sponsored day students. That's his home. That the forest shack that you see there, that's where he lives with his very destitute grandparents. And so he is one of our sponsored day students. His name is Radiwan. And he walks to our school. And that's just a picture of him walking to our school. A couple of other things we have here. The current 11th graders presenting the story of Solomon with the 2 mothers. You can see this is the real mother. Please do not give me my child back, and please don't kill him. And this was the not good mother. And there's Solomon, which is kind of interesting that boy is actually Muslim that's doing this. We don't have many Muslim students, but we have a couple who've been able to be part of our school, and they learn the Bible every day. And we're just praying that God might not be converting them now, but that His word will go out, and that they might be a force for good and for God's word. Here is Tekli again. He enjoys our boys, and there's the boys. This was actually last summer because most of these guys have graduated, but they were all out working, mowing the lawns. We have lots of lawns and doing other yard works together. And then finally, this is one side of our dining hall. We have has 2 sides on it. These are the younger primary students. They're all eating their lunch together. So, Kwaheri, Nakaributena, Rafiki Tanzania. which means many best wishes, and please come again and visit us. You're always welcome to Tanzania. And this is the view from our backyard. So yes, we always like to make people a little bit jealous, you know. That is Mount Kilimanjaro. Yeah, that's Mount Kilimanjaro, and that's the main peak, Kibo, and then the other one is Mwenzi, which it actually had 3 peaks, but a couple thousand years ago, the other one inverted, so it's actually a flat plain called the Shiro Plain, and but that's yeah. So that's it.
Yeah. So I didn't know if anyone had any. Did anyone have any questions or anything? Yes.
Yeah, John, thanks for going through all that.
Sure.
It's interesting. In terms of what's the population of the village? You have a village director or administrator. What's the total sort of number of people?
Oh, sure. So let's see. I have about 78 employees. So that's teachers and cooking staff, guards, and the mamas. Yes, that's how many national staff we employ. And with that, there's just the 4 missionaries, help oversee all of that. And then the closest town to us is Moshi. And Moshi, let's see, I'm thinking, what does that have? Maybe 200,000?
Yeah, maybe
People?
maybe a little bit more in the
250.
areas.
Yeah, if you include some of the surrounding areas. So
It's 6
How
miles.
far is that, Moshi?
6 miles away.
yeah, about 6 miles away from us. So and it's a growing area. I mean, even right around our school, in the past year, they've started clearing land and starting to put up some more houses. And we could see a spot where they're going to put a little shop place for like maybe 3 or 4 small shops in the area. So yeah, it's been growing. So which is a nice thing. You like to see areas growing and people moving in. And that also means it's good for schools because many times people have children and they need a place to go. So that's where we're hoping, our school can only take so many. So we really need to get some of these other partner schools to develop more partner schools to say, hey, you can do this. So then children don't have to come as far and things like that. Yeah, that's a good question.
Now, did you say that the president was Muslim and his wife was a Christian? Is that?
Oh, right. So the president, Mama Samia, is Muslim. Her vice president is Christian. So that's how they do it. So then the next president that's elected would have to be Christian. They alternate. Is how they do it. So.
Well, with the work you're doing, I'm sure people know about it. Do you have any local representatives that go on your behalf to the government, maybe for assistance or implementing plans or anything like that?
Oh, again, a good question. We do have a lot of goodwill, a lot of people in the community. It's not unusual if I meet someone and I say I work at Rafiki. They, I've heard of Rafiki, and it's always very positive things. As far as working with the government, we do have people we can call on, particularly from the Lutheran Church. People are well connected that we could if we need to. Thankfully, we tend to have pretty good relationships with the government. Even though we're a private school, again, Tanzania, the government structure is different, so we basically are a public school, more like a charter school, if you will, is how the government looks at us. So we have.
Except that we get no money from
Yeah, we don't get any money from them, but we have to follow their school year calendar. We have to use their curriculum. So we kind of use our curriculum and their curriculum together. And so they having government inspectors come. Actually, they were there this past week to look, I think, at the primary school and our child care. They will have government inspectors come to look at our child care to make sure we're doing a good job. And in that way, I welcome them because we're transparent. We have nothing to hide, and I know that's all they're trying to do. They want to make sure our school is doing good work. Our orphan care is truly caring for the orphans and things like that. So thankfully, we don't usually need too much help, like going to the government. The local government officials all know we do good work, and they're usually very supportive. Very good question. Oh, yeah, Michael.
You said something about sponsoring children. How much does a sponsorship of a child to your school
Very good. I'll let Gwen do that.
Well, I don't know the complete numbers, but I know the minimum number for a sponsorship is $25 a month. But it goes up from there. Now, of course, the resident children needed a lot more money to be able to live at Rafiki Foundation. So I don't know what the maximum is to be fully sponsoring a day student. I guess it would relate to the tuition.
Yeah, I was going to say our tuition is around, I mean, depending on the level, $600 to $800 per year. So if you're doing $25 a month, then yeah, that's roughly $250? I don't know, $300.
That's about $300.
So a child, if a child's getting sponsored by say 2 or 3 people, even at that level, they're fully sponsored at that point. So thankfully, but I mean, I know as a teacher at Redeemer, you have tremendous amounts of disposable income. So if you want to sponsor a few, $3,000 or $4,000 a month, we'd be happy to do that.
I can liberate John's wallet.
That's correct. That's correct. I always told my students when I worked here, it's the Christmas bonus. I mean, that's why I have my 3 houses around. So.
Any other questions?
Oh, yeah.
I have a question. I don't know anything about Tanzania at all.
Okay.
Is the culture predominantly Christian or Muslim or some combination of?
That's an excellent question. So
Yes.
Tanzania, yes. Tanzania is located on the east side of Africa. It's just below the equator, just below Kenya. It is a majority Christian country. However, we have a large Islam population and a somewhat smaller traditional religion. However, within both the Muslim and the traditional religions, you would find some of that holdover of traditional rituals that people might hold on to. People might call themselves Lutherans, but then yet they're going to call you to come and do a goat sacrifice because they think that there's an evil spirit living in their house. So that's why there's so much room for discipleship. And that's why really teaching people the Bible in a systematic way is such a wonderful thing. And that's why even giving, those organizations giving us materials that we can share is so wonderful, because there's that need for really understanding what is God's truth all about. It's not just a label, right?
And a follow-up on the culture and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned in the presentation that they sent boxes and boxes of English language
Yes.
Bibles. Is the goal to was that just a mistake, or was it, do they want to transition people to learning English?
That's also an excellent question. Now, Rafiki works in 10 different countries. All of them are English speaking in some level. Ours is one of the lower levels. You would say Ethiopia, Rwanda, and Tanzania are the least of the population speaks English fluently. But everyone knows something. In Tanzania, if you go to secondary school, it will be in English, even if it's public school. All of the schools are in English. Also, if you go to university or a college, they are supposedly all in English. So in Tanzania, if you know English, you are considered a well-educated person.
Oh, okay.
So for us to be teaching, all of the ELCT schools, the Lutheran schools, are English medium schools. In other words, all from little tiny children, 3 years old, we teach them English, and then they learn English the whole time they're in our school. We do teach Swahili as a foreign language subject, starting in third grade or something like that. They have Swahili. I don't even remember. I think they've moved it down.
Yeah,
even to second grade, so that they're learning like the grammar rules of Swahili. They learn a lot of staying. Yeah, just like we study English as our own language, so they study their national language. But yeah, it's the seminaries are actually all in English, so that's why we're giving them materials, that Bible materials in English. Plus, that is what our sponsors, our partners, all are in English. We encourage that the Lutherans, if they want to translate our materials, they can work with us and they can translate the materials into Swahili. We're not going to stop them. They can print their own Bibles in Swahili. They have their own printers. They have their own Bibles in Swahili. There's many Swahili translations. They're just, they're kind of expensive. So that's a really good question. And so it's always a little hard. But our founder, she was in Tanzania before it became an independent country. And she's like, yeah, that was a mistake. That was a mistake to not be an English-speaking country. And so she really is very strong about no Swahili. We actually include more Swahili than she probably would like, but that's okay. It's all good. Good question. Any more?
Well, that's, I guess because the reason for that is that you have a wider, you're able to interact with the world on a wider basis.
Exactly. That's exactly right. You have a much greater influence with on a worldwide basis when you use English. It is a worldwide language spoken in every continent. You're welcome. Any questions from the back there? No? Everything's cleared? Awesome. It's because they're brilliant, classically educated. They're thinking about the next thing already. Yeah.
I don't want to hog the question time, but what is a classical Christian school as opposed to just a Christian school? What does classical mean?
Oh, you don't want to ask any of these other people here at Redeemer? The Redeemer School is a classical Christian school, and so that's part of the reason why we wanted to work with Rafiki Foundation, is because they too have this idea of a classical Christian education, that it's not just enough to be educated and then have a Bible study thrown on top, that instead we want to integrate the Bible in all subject matters, see people as made in God's image, and also that we reflect that our education, our way of education, it looks as children as not little cogs in a machine. Instead, they're people made in the image of God who, when they're younger, are a certain way, and they can learn in a certain way. And then as they grow, they develop, so that when they're in the middle school, we're going to be asking them more of those kinds of why questions, that when they're younger, we're just going to tell them more of the what questions. And then when they're in the oldest levels, in the rhetoric stage, they're going to talk about a little bit more about how, and to develop their own way of speaking. Now, it's a little hard in Tanzania for our children to be able to write as eloquently as our children do here in their native language of English, but it is our goal. Well, if you'd like to read the essays I graded, you can really cry. These are people who supposedly, I know, but these people supposedly majored in English in college. It's really sad. So anyway, did I do okay, Glenn? Was that an okay definition? Okay. You ask Glenn if you have any more questions about classical, and Michael, and also Josh, Jason, Justin. All righty.